I call the honourable member for Capricornia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Will the Prime Minister inform the House how achieving the economic partnership agreement with Japan will benefit exporters and consumers in my electorate of Capricornia?
I call the honourable Prime Minister, and
well,
we'll
Madam
have
Speaker,
some silence.
I am
Thank
conscious
you.
of the fact that Rockhampton, which the member represents, is the beef capital of Australia, and beef will certainly be one of the biggest beneficiaries from the free trade agreement that we have signed with Japan. And, Madam Speaker, last week Prime Minister Abe and I did in fact sign the economic partnership agreement that the member refers to. Madam Speaker, for 40 years Japan was Australia's biggest trading partner. It's still, by a wide margin, our second biggest trading partner, and two-way trade between Australia and Japan is worth $70 billion every single year, and Japan is also our third biggest inbound investor. Madam Speaker, Japan has been central to Australia's post-war prosperity. Our iron ore, our coal and, more recently, our gas industries would not have happened but for Japanese buyers and investors who, in a very real sense, Madam Speaker, our post-war prosperity has been made in Japan. Now, this free trade agreement that we have just signed with Japan is good news for businesses and for consumers, because freer trade means more jobs and lower prices. It is, in fact, the first comprehensive free trade agreement that Japan has signed with a major developed economy, and under it 97% of Australia's exports to Japan will enter duty-free or at a preferential rate when the agreement is fully in force. Beef, cheese, horticulture and wine will particularly benefit. Beef tariffs will almost halve, with a big drop immediately, and that's why the Red Meat Council thinks that our beef exports to Japan will increase by some 7% a year under this agreement. Madam Speaker, the BCA said, and I quote, "The Australian government has been focused and pragmatic in concluding the highest quality bilateral trade agreement Japan has ever signed. This agreement will give Australian exporters better access to the $5 trillion Japanese market than Japan has provided under any other of its agreements." Obviously, Madam Speaker, I thank the Trade Minister, Andrew Robb, for his tireless work to bring this about. Madam Speaker, this is a government which seeks to deliver on its commitments. We said before the last election that within 12 months we wanted to finalise free trade agreements with Korea, with Japan and with China. Two of those agreements have indeed been finalised, and we have high hopes of a third, thanks again to the good work of Minister Robb.